Hi, in this mini lecture, I wanted to highlight three of the most important rhetoricians that we're going to learn about in this class. This is in preparation for your public speaking class that you signed up for. And in this mini lecture, the three that I'm highlighting, you can find in your notes in the section modules from, and this is about the history of rhetoric. The first set of information that I want to analyze with you that I think you should review and think about is the theory of general probability with Corax and Thesias. In 476 BC, Corax had a student, Thesias, and when uh, when they had an argument about whether Thesias should pay him for the lessons taught, Corax argued with the judges that Thesias needed to pay him for the lessons regardless of their ruling, because he argued that if Thesias were to lose the debate, then he obviously would have to pay him. And if he were to win the debate, then that would demonstrate that he, in fact, taught him the lessons that he was charging for. Thesias, on the other hand, decided that he would argue exactly the opposite. He decided that he would use the exact same argument in reverse. So he said that he didn't have to pay him if he would win the debate, and he wouldn't have to pay him if he lost the debate, because that would prove that Corax didn't actually teach him the lessons that he claimed that he did. So this is one of the reasons why today, in a court of law, lawyers have to prove their points and their case beyond reasonable doubt, because you can't have arguments in which you're not certain of the truth, in which the outcome is so certain that there's no doubt. The uh, the second rhetorician that I wanted to talk to you about is Protagoras, who in 481 BC created the idea of debating, and for his idea of arguing, he um, he structured debating in a way that he would assign students an argument, and they had to learn how to argue for either side. In our class, if we were meeting in a classroom at the end of the quarter, we would have a debate in which this principle would apply. You will be you will have an opponent, and the opponent and yourself will come up with the subject that you wanted to argue about, but not the side. The side will be decided on the day in which we will meet to have the debate. This is the best way to prepare for arguments and negotiations, because you are best prepared when you know your argument and the other side rather than just your side. The third rhetorician that I wanted to visit with you about, that I think we should analyze, is Aristotle. Aristotle was a scientist in 384 before BC. He saw rhetoric and the study of public speaking as a subject that you could be divided or dissect into three categories, and these are ethos, pathos, and logos. With ethos, which is in reference to competence, character, and credibility; pathos having to do with goodwill and emotion; and logos having to do with logic, intelligence, reasoning, and evidence. This is important because when you hear speakers, whether it's live or even on TV, we must ask some questions that would help you determine if the speaker is in fact a good speaker or an effective or an efficient speaker. And when they are, they generally show these three components, with ethos showing that they're competent, that they have credibility, and that their character is worthy of you listening and believing what they're saying. Pathos has to do with goodwill and emotion, and goodwill and emotion is attained when the speaker connects with the audience at a personal level. Logos has to do with logic, intelligence, reason, and evidence. And in this instance, when we're looking at logic, reason, and evidence, do the arguments make sense, and do you find them acceptable? Acceptable in terms of proving that what they're saying is true. So as you can see, these three rhetoricians, obviously there are many, and there are several that you read in the chapter of the history of rhetoric. But I wanted you to be aware of this three so that at least you have some of the fundamentals that make up public speaking, and these fundamentals have not changed over the years. And even though that was true in Greece at the time, it seems like these elements are still true today. Until the next mini lecture, I'll see you then.